All right, so you don't need the side conversation or the extra comments. Thank you, sir. Grammar lesson. Eramara sarat, the imperfect tense of some. The verb to be, some essay, has tenses as well. Remember, the tense is time. It tells us when things went down. The tense tells us when something happened. If we mean something a certain way right now, it's the present tense. Just as with other verbs, we can use the imperfect tense if we want to say something was a certain way in the past. However, as with the present tense of this particular verb, the imperfect tense, some essay, does not follow the normal pattern. That is, it is irregular. So it must be memorized. The chart at the beginning of the chapter shows all the forms of the imperfect tense of the verb some. Can you tell the differences between the two following sentences? Some magister versus eram magister. What's the difference between those two sentences? Chase. The ending looks the same. The first word, okay? All right. So yeah, Jackson? Yeah, and more specifically, imperfect tense. I agree with you. When we say was, were, we tend to think of past. But in Latin, they want you to understand the difference between past imperfect versus something you'll learn later called perfect tense. Yes, Sam? Yes.
And it would be imperfect tense, but you'd have to move the B and then just add the ER at the front, right?
Say again, Sam?
You told us that you trick is just to remove the B and then add the ER, so that would be bomb.
Yes, so what tense is that then? It is first singular imperfect tense. Yes.
The translation is also different?
Yes, slightly. Is it still first person?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it still singular?
Yes.
So it's still I, but some magister is going to be translated as what, y'all? I am a teacher versus I was a teacher. You see the difference there? Still linking verb because it's not action. Now the other thing I want to point out to you guys is something else that you have to be really careful about when it comes to this verb. Okay, so Sam was reminding us that for the imperfect tense of the verb to be, I just take bom, bus, bot, bombus, botus, bont. And if I take off the B and I add an ER, that gives me the irregular tense, or the irregular verb to be in the imperfect tense. So far so good, everybody with me on that? Okay, now, I want to put something up here, and I want you guys to see if you can tell me what's different about it. Okay, what's different here between the chart that I just had on the board? What's different here? Yeah, Anna. I do have two R's. Did I make a typographical error, or does that mean something else? What do you guys think? Nicholas. That's the verb to wander. Real close, isn't it? The only difference, she hits it right on the head. 2 R's versus 1 R. Does spelling matter? Yes, it does. So one of the things you have to be very careful about is when you're seeing sentences, you have the verb to wander in your toolbox. Erdo, erdawe, erdawe, erdatu. Could that show up on a test? Is that a fair game word? Do I expect you to know it? Absolutely. But now we also have the irregular verb to be in terms of I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, y'all were, they were. And so if you aren't careful, this is an area where students will sometimes get a little mixed up. So let's talk about some strategies on how we can tell the difference between the two. Okay? Okay, now, in case you can't figure it out, anybody have an idea what the word in Latin "in" means? Nicholas? In, yes. Tough, right? And yet, eventually you're going to have this as a word. So I'm just kind of give you a sneak peek of exciting things to come. That is in is a preposition. And so yes, that is a preposition. So guess what that means Silwa is? That's the object of the preposition. Okay?
Are we going to have a chapter all about prepositions?
Yeah, we'll spend actually 3 different chapters of prepositions to learn. Okay? Yes.
What do you call that? Oh, yeah.
Okay, great question. I wasn't intending on having that conversation yet, but I'll talk about it because it is a fantastic question. So, Nicholas said, how do we go about parsing in? In is a part of what I like to call the cap. Cap. And I'm not talking about the salary limitations that we have on accumulating athletes for the percentage of building a championship team. CAP is an acronym that stands for conjunctions, adverbs, and prepositions. Conjunctions, adverbs, and prepositions don't get parsed. So, I've given you the preposition in. In will always be in. I don't add anything to it. I don't take anything away. So whenever you encounter a preposition in a sentence, you're simply just going to label it. You don't have to worry about parsing it. We've also seen conjunctions because we saw et in our story, which I guess we need to get back to. It's been a long time since we worked on that Vitruvius story. Et is always et. It means and, in case you forgot. It never changes. All right? And an adverb, mox, which means soon. Soon. Yes, Sam.
What if in the sentence you said we should go back in? Well, how would you go
Like in as an inside.
Yeah.
That's a different. That's something different. That's well beyond today's script. So let's hold off on that for now. But I like the way you're thinking. All right. Now, back to the original purpose of this. What was the original purpose of this? Oh yes. I love it when it's on that funky part of the board and it just looks like so wacko crazy. Okay. So let's see if we can tell the difference between the two sentences. The difference of the verbs. So besides the fact that one had one arm, the other had two. Good job figuring that out. Do we notice anything else that's different about the two verbs in these two sentences?
Oh.
Maddie, you see something?
One's at the end of the sentence?
Yeah. Action verbs are typically at the end of the sentence, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay? Linking verbs, not always, but linking verbs are very often in the middle of the sentence. Okay?
They like link the words together.
Yeah, because they're linking the subject with the predicate, so they're acting like a link in the middle. Now, there are exceptions to that, and we've talked about them before. But that is something for you guys to keep in mind as you're encountering these words. So I'm going to start sprinkling that verb to wander back into things. So you want to make sure you are paying attention to what you've got going on there and you are translating it correctly. Because the man was a teacher makes much more is a much different sentence than the man wanders the teacher. I know, right? Now that one you could probably figure out that you've done something wrong. Because the moment I said it out loud, some of you were actually literally laughing out loud, and the others, I could tell by the way your eyes were going, you were smiling and saying, okay, that's crazy. I'm never going to make that mistake. Knock on wood. Now, but the second sentence. We're in Silva errant. Anybody want to take a stab at translating that? Liam. Okay. The man in the woods is wandering. That is an acceptable way of translating that. Jackson?
The man wanders in the forest.
Yeah, the man wanders in the woods. That's fine. Now, if I didn't remember that two R's mean wanders, and if I said instead the man was in the forest, does that actually sound like it could be a reasonable translation? And the only way you would know why is if you were paying attention to the R's. So that's one of those things where, I know spelling can be a bit of a booger bear for some people. And I say, hey guys, this is Latin, and you've got to pay close attention to the spelling because the spelling matters. And you guys, it's like you're Thor in that meme where you're going, does it really matter? It does. Because here's a big difference between imperfect, linking verb versus action, present tense. All right? Yeah, Lily.
If you did that error was, then you could see that it wasn't because you were thinking of it in the
Right. If I'd wanted to say the man was in the forest, I would have said we're errat in Silva. All right. Great observation. Yes, Sam. No. Because you just made wandering an adjective, didn't you? And then, I'm sorry I cut you off. Let me let you finish. The wandering man, keep going. So you just said the wandering man was in the forest. So you see how you created a word that's not, and that's one of the things you have to be really careful about. And a lot of times when we get to this part of Latin, I have students who'll say, oh, well, I just know what these three words mean. I'm just going to kind of come up with something. Please don't do that. That's not going to work. Can you get away with it? Maybe. Because when I have three words, I've got 6 different possible combinations. I might be able to come up with the right combination. But as the sentences get longer and more complex, that is not going to be a recipe for success. Yes, Riley, thank you for your patience.
Can you say like if you gave that sentence to us on the test, the one with the man in the forest was wandering? Could you say it like that or like the other 2 options?
I'm sorry, say again?
Like how you can do the wandering man
The wandering man?
Not the wandering, the man in the forest was wandering. Couldn't you, wouldn't you be able to translate another way? Wouldn't it count on test? Like if it meant the same thing, but not using a rock to wandering?
Well, again, it depends. You have to translate what's there, not what you think is there. So pay close attention. Make sure you've got 1 R versus 2. Right, Maddie? Say again? Can you hold on for about 20 seconds? Other questions? All right. We will continue this conversation tomorrow. What's what? Mox means soon.